Hi, and welcome to Gaia Online, Gaia GPS. I was like, what do we call this again? It's only been a week, but I can't remember. I'm having the Mercury shadow aftershocks happening right now. I am Mimi, and I'm here with Nicole.
Hi.
And we're going to pull some cards for the astro shifts for this week, the week of September 26th, 2016. And we're starting with something that already actually happened today. We had Pluto move direct. Pluto has been retrograde in Capricorn since April, and now it's moving direct. Pluto moves really slowly, so we only went back like 3 degrees. I think it went from 17 degrees to 14 degrees. So, you know, the moving forward is going to be a slow process, but anytime a planet goes retrograde into direct is a call for us to make sure any lessons that you've learned since this time, since April, whether you think it's related to Pluto or not, come with you. And Pluto, just for a basic little overview, Pluto is the planet of transformation. It's the planet of empowerment. It gets us into our power. But sometimes, in order to take us into our power, it takes us and shows us the areas where we may be giving that power away. And in Capricorn, Capricorn is the sign of purpose and structure. So Pluto in Capricorn is in the middle, almost exactly in the middle of a really long process of shifting the structure of things and helping us shift the structure of our personal power and how we show up. And I've got some interesting cards. I'm going to start with my Osho card. I have the Osho Master card. And, you know, this card kind of reminds me of Pluto, the light and the dark. Pluto can be the lightest light and the darkest darks. And ultimately, this is the Pluto process, because Pluto, I'd say the change makers, Pluto, Uranus, and Saturn are all in the process of helping us into our mastery by showing us the areas where we sell ourselves short, where we don't completely show up in the way that we need to, and allow the universe to come through as it's meant to come through. So be a master in the way of recognizing, paying attention. What have you learned since April? It's been like basically since, I think, April 18th. Somewhere right around there. What have you learned since then? And how are you moving forward with those lessons from there? How are you moving forward knowing I am empowered, I've got this, and I'm going to be one unto myself. I'm going back into the one unto myself thing. So this is with the Master card. Along with that, I have the Nothingness card, which, you know, in the Osho deck is like, you know, from nothing comes the everything. But I'm really getting the energy of the Hierophant with this. You have the Nothingness card too. I love it. I'm really getting the Hierophant energy with this. And what I'm getting from this is, you know, the Hierophant in traditional astrology kind of has like this popish figure. And I'm really thinking that these cards together are saying, hey, recognize the Hierophant within yourself. Recognize the Master within yourself. Do not give your power to every Tom, Dick, Harry, Sue, Harry, Sue, that, you know, has something to say on the internet, including me or Nicole or anybody, you know, if it does not resonate with your soul. Empower yourself by coming into your own mastery and listening to yourself. And I think this is really a huge thing with Pluto in Capricorn, is the ability not to give our authority away to somebody else and really becoming and stepping into our own mastery. I've also got the Abundance card with this. And this Abundance card is like kind of the as above, so below. You have that too? Wow. Awesome. The as above, so below energy. Connect into your spiritual energy. Connect into your guides. You do not need to be led by anybody else. And connect into the earth. Find the balance, your own personal balance in this as part of your process, your process of personal mastery. Along with that, I've got the Archangel Michael card and the Coventina card. I'm using, what decks am I using? I'm using, I forget what this deck is called. My brain is like not wanting to work. What deck is this? Angel Therapy deck, and then the Goddess deck. Archangel Michael, you're working very closely with this powerful archangel who's protecting and guiding you through the situation. So I think this is one of the things about personal mastery, is knowing who's on your side, who's on your team, whether human or, you know, in the spiritual realm. And Archangel Michael's always a good one to have, you know, hanging out in your back pocket or dancing alongside you, in Nikki's case, you know, to call upon. Get familiar with these energies and call upon them. And then the Coventina energy, the purification, is it's time for a cleansing detoxification of your body and mind. And I think this is really smart in becoming your own master. Get clean. Do, like, you know, an online detox, a friend detox, a TV detox, a radio detox, where you take yourself out of all the, you know, all the energy that's feeding in and overstimulating your mind, so that you can be like, oh, this is who I am and this is what I really feel. And so that's what I'm getting from this Pluto direct energy. Nicole?
I really agree with everything you just said, actually. So I'm going to just read the cards and see what comes to me. I'm going to start with, I have the Wisdom of the Oracle cards, and the one that I picked was the Orphan card in reverse. This talks a lot about abandonment issues. So I think that since April, I want you to look back into everything that you've done, all the decisions you've made, and all of the things you've been trying to work on from then until now. And notice where any decisions you've made is based off of fear of abandonment, or anything that has to do with not feeling enough. I have the Flowering card in reverse. So this is this empowered woman. This is an empowered feminine card, but it's in reverse. So what we're having to do, and what we're going to, as Pluto runs back over all of those lessons, those 3 degrees, we're going to see the other side of the coin on that issue. So we're going to be able to move forward now in a different way, because we had to get it run over 3 times. I always find when things retrograde, it's like, okay, we got to go back to that issue, and then we get to move forward. And the last pass is usually when you start getting a little bit more completion on that issue. So you got to look back. And because it's Pluto, it's probably past life. It's probably very deep. And it's also not just past life in this lifetime. It has to do with the inner child in the way that you were parented. So where you developed in this lifetime your abandonment issues. Now, anything, I believe, because I work with the inner child a lot, I believe that whatever happens from the age of 1 to 7, a lot of that, when our innocence is taken away, or we were abused, or we saw abuse, or we got abandoned, or any of that, those things where we think that our innocence was taken away, it's actually it's like a, what's the wording? It's a carryover of the past life that you just went through, okay? So you got to look at those not as a victim, but you have to look at what you carried over from past lifetimes, that karma, and that what we have to still unravel. And if it's abandonment issues, it's great, fine, great. Not great you have abandonment issues, but fine, great. That's what they are, and just accept them, and that's okay. So we're learning how to integrate those more. So these next few months is integrating those more. And I also have the Nothingness card. So as we integrate those lessons, and we remember who we are, and we remember that we still are whole, even it doesn't matter what happened to us in the past, you are still whole. That's what's beyond illusion here, is that you are whole, and nothing that has ever happened to you has ever made you less whole. So integrate, then you can have a new beginning. And this new beginning is getting back to that integrity of your own innocence. So it's not what we lost when life happened to us over the years. Wasn't a loss of innocence. It was a loss of that everything was going to be okay. That's our own ignorance, to think that we come to this planet and everything is butterflies and rainbows. That's the beauty of children. They're very optimistic. But really, when we come to the 3rd dimension, we come in for this kind of, there's the integration, right? This very colorful and very dualistic experience. You're going to have the good times. You are going to have the hard times. You're going to have great people in your life. You're going to have really crazy maybe evil people in your life. But that's what this planet's about. It's about all the colors of the rainbow, all the spectrums of the color chart, and yin yang, black and white, dualistic. So when you can really assimilate that wholeness again, that's when you can find that innocence of the child, which is okay with everything and makes art no matter what is going on. And, you know, it's funny when people ask me about my childhood, because I had a really hard childhood. I saw a lot of abuse and drug abuse and all kinds of different things. But when people ask me about it, because it was my normal, I didn't see it as like, until when I got older, when I found out that not everybody had that experience, I thought I found out my experience wasn't normal. But children kind of accept things. They accept things because that's kind of the purity of them. And then we work through them. It's when the adults go, oh, that was not good, is when we start putting our minds put a spin how that wasn't right for us. But the acceptance brings back the purity. The acceptance brings back the purity. And then you realize that we think we might have like a sense of lack of attention, lack of having somebody in our lives, like the abandonment issue. And that, the truth is, we're always abundant. It's always abundant. What we need, every color that we've gotten in our lives is the colors that we've needed. And that is when we start to find your wholeness again. I keep getting the word whole. Remember you're whole with all this Pluto stuff. I don't know if that made sense at all. I just kind of went with it.
I think it was great. It actually works really well with I have the integration card for our next aspect, which is also Capricorn based, because we have Mars shifting into Capricorn. And this is a big deal because Mars went retrograde this year, and Mars retrograde takes a while. So we basically, 3 days into the new year, 3 days into 2016, we had Mars shift into Scorpio, and Mars has either been in Scorpio or Sagittarius since then. So Mars into Capricorn is actually like this forward momentum. And I really am happy that Nicole brought in the energy of integration with the last cards with Pluto and Capricorn, because I have this for Mars and Capricorn. I have this integration card. And for my horoscope that I did tomorrow, this is kind of what I was talking about, the energy of integration. What I was saying, so Mars is action energy. It's passion. It's like, here we go. Let's take action on this. And we've been wanting all this action. We went retrograde through Scorpio. We sought out what was holding us back. Sought out old intimacy issues. In Sagittarius, we've been like looking with our beliefs where we're taking aim. And now in Capricorn, this is the earth energy. This is where it becomes physical. But we have to still bring in that integration of what we learned from the shadow, from those parts of us which may want to undermine us. And then what we learned from aiming at the light, taking that aim with the archer energy of Sagittarius into those infinite possibilities that we want, and integrate them into aligned action. And that's my horoscope for tomorrow that you can check out about taking your responsibility, about your action, making sure that it's completely aligned with who you are at this point. And I have the consciousness card. This takes a lot of consciousness. It's so dark here. Maybe I need to turn on this other light. It's still dark. Taking this energy of consciousness and being aware who you are, what you want in your life, and how you're taking those steps. Capricorn energy is ultimately the energy of purpose and showing up for our mission and in our purpose. But to really do that, you've got to be integrated within yourself. You've got to know your light. You've got to know your darkness. And you've got to know those places where you may fall into those old habits, those old thinkings of lack, or the old thinkings of abandonment, like Nicole said. Where are the places where you tend to undermine yourself, where it takes that action? So we have this opportunity to take this aligned action, but make sure it's aligned. Get purposeful about your steps that you're taking into this next energy of moving forward with this. Now, along with these cards, I have the existence card, which to me is like we combine consciousness and integration, we get the existence card. This is the magician card. So it's like, yes, these things are manifesting, but they're manifesting because you are whole and one unto yourself, being very true to your energy. So if it's not, if the things that you want aren't happening, maybe this is a call to see, hey, there may be places where I'm talking the talk and I'm not yet walking the walk, or I'm walking the walk and yet I'm not talking the talk. In my head, there's something different. Get aligned is the energy that I keep getting. With this, I also have Una, easy does it. Capricorn can be like pushy, I need it now, I need it to look good. Don't get on that train. Get on the personal alignment train. And we have so much helping us with all this Libra energy that we're working with, which is asking us to find that inner harmony. We've got a lot of that working with us at this time. Easy does it. It does not have to be overnight, this moment. And I've also got Archangel Raphael. So if you find yourself in that place where you're not walking your talk or talking your walk or whatever, that you find something out of balance, Archangel Raphael is a healing angel. It says this healing angel is with you, supporting your healing work. Ask to be shown how and where to do the healing work within you in order to fully show up integrated, integrated, conscious, and whole in your manifestations. And I guarantee the angels love to help. And usually all they need is like an invitation and then your trust that they're actually helping you. So yeah, that's what I have.
I have very similar, and I do agree with Mimi when it comes to the way you're going to move forward. Please make sure your heart and the mind is aligned when you start moving forward. Your mind is going to want you to charge ahead, but if you don't align with the heart, then your actions are kind of futile and you're going to be running yourself around in circles. And what I'm getting is you'll be running around the desert. And you don't want to do that. So you got to make sure your heart's aligned with what you're wanting to create, because if it's not, you're just, I mean, your effort is going to exhaust you. Okay, so this is what I'm getting for this Mars going into Capricorn. I still think that there is some kind of, again, what we're going to be going into is some sort of past life energy. And look at how interesting. There's these lizards, Mimi, guarding, the rainbow lizards are guarding the past life stuff. So we have to, if you want to have this kind of past life memory or assistance with past life stuff that is coming up, because again, that Pluto energy is strong, heavy on this Capricorn, because we have Pluto in Capricorn, we have Mars in Capricorn. So these are going to be working together. This Pluto and this Mars energy is going to be working together as Mars moves through it. And there's a way to heal it, but you have to go in silent. And you can call upon these guardians, these rainbow lizards, to help you with awareness around this particular past life karma that you're having, so it's not a burden. And it can move really quickly. Your awareness can move, is what they're showing me, but you have to do the meditation. You could do a past life regression, you could do journaling, you got to do some sort of inner work of your choice to help you through this particular issue or this particular karma. And it might have to do with someone, like someone else in your life, but more than anything, it has to do with what this person represents to you. So if it's like a pattern that you're having that you keep playing out with different people, it's like the same person in different skin type of thing. You got to see where you're coming at it so you can make new decisions, so you don't go back into that round and round cycle of doing it over and over and over again, because you've been doing it. What they're telling me is you've been doing it for lifetimes, and it's time to see it in a different way. And like they keep showing me like a NASCAR race where it's like you keep doing this, and it's like, get off the track. Instead of continuously making left-hand turns, make a right. Get off the track, right? So you don't have to be in that weird cyclical thing anymore. And the karmas, the people that you're having up, I know it might feel intense for you, those mirrors, but honestly, it's all in you. So you have the decision to get yourself out of this kind of thing whenever you want, and get out of the desert. Get out of the desert. You don't need the desert. And you can have not even the oasis, you can have Shangri-La in whatever form, or at least have sustenance again and not just live off of bare bones. I hope that makes sense. Jeez, oh Pete.
What was that?
It's the garbage man.
Oh.
I'm gonna mute myself so that doesn't.
Cool. All right, so our next aspect that we have is the moon shifting into Virgo, and this is also happening tomorrow, Tuesday. The moon shifting into Virgo is preparing us, getting us into the energy of the dark of the moon before the moon shifts into Libra on Friday and takes us into that new moon energy on Friday. So moon in Virgo, this is all, you know, working alongside of Pluto, which is direct in Capricorn, Mars, which is now in Capricorn, Mercury is direct in Virgo, and now we have the moon in Virgo. So we have these strong earth energies working together. I'm actually going to start with my goddess card, which is Maeve, and it says cycles and rhythms. Honor the cycles of your body, energy levels, and emotions. And I got to say, with all of these shifts, Pluto, you know, people don't necessarily always believe this. Pluto packs a punch. So with Pluto going direct, with Mars shifting signs, being at 0 degrees, with the moon shifting signs, your energy levels may be wonky all over the place. So the number one thing with the moon in Virgo is honor your body. Listen to your body and what it needs. That's always going to be, like, to me, the most important message and lesson of Virgo is listening to your body and its wisdom that it has. Along with that, I have from the Angel Therapy deck, I have the Sacral Chakra card. And what it says on here is you're highly sensitive to chemicals, additives, processed foods, energies right now. Respect your sensitivities by avoiding harsh items, situations, and relationships. So as we are working through all this shift, you may be feeling this sensitivity. Honor yourself. Be quiet. Be good to yourself. And let's see what the other lessons that we have from the Osho cards. So I'm going to start with this one from Osho. I've got the Sorrow card. And this is kind of, you know, standard for Dark of the Moon. Dark of the Moon brings up the dark of emotions within us. Some of those emotions that have been pushed aside for another time, they're coming up to be processed and surfaced. And I think that's kind of, you know, watching the cycles of Astro and how they work together, it's like, wow, this is a plan. Like, there is a divine mastery at work, because just the way it cycles and how it takes us in deeper all the time is always fascinating and amazing to me. All of this shift is happening at once. So if you get that tired energy, you know, take the rest that you need. Process whatever's coming up, whether it's sorrow or something else. I've also got the energy of comparison. And this comes up a lot with Virgo energy, because Virgo energy is like, that thing looks perfect. I like that thing. I'm not perfect. And so some of your sorrow might be coming up about this. This may be some of, you know, Nicole and I talked about the integration. This may be some of that shadow energy that, you know, you're still carrying that's stopping you from getting completely in alignment with what it is that you need. Please, you know, feel free to process it as it comes off. Because then I've got some really good cards. I've got the Creator card and I've got the Completion card. So my feeling is, like, the beginning of this moon in Virgo, like, it's going to be quiet as Mars, you know, figures out how it's moving, as Pluto figures out how it's moving. And then the action's going to come in. The manifestation is going to start to come in. You know, even though it's the dark of the moon, things are going to come into place. And this, like I said, this moon is taking us right up into the new moon, which is that Creator new moon. So first, do your processing that you need to process. Take all the time you need. I've got the Compromise card in reverse. Don't compromise what your body is asking for, because there's definitely a reason. Because then, with all this strong earth energy moving forward for us, I do believe things that you've been waiting for are going to start, like, suddenly being like, oh my God, this thing, here it is, all of a sudden. So take it easy on yourself. And then see what happens. Because I'm going back to that Una card and the Cycles and Rhythms card. Like, I don't think this is going to be, like, by sheer force and determination that these things come about. I think it's going to be by your willingness to be present with yourself that these things are going to start shifting. Nicole? You're still muted.
There we go.
Hi.
Good. And the garbage can is gone, or garbage truck. Okay, so what I'm getting is as this moon goes into Virgo, I want you to look at your expectations. So there's I have the Beyond Illusion card with the Dream card. And this girl is looking at, she's sitting here, she's looking at this relationship. This is what I really want. This is what a relationship really looks like. And I'm comparing myself to my own expectations. Is your expectations for your life matching what your reality is? And are you feeling bad because your own expectations are telling you that you're doing something wrong because you don't have what you expect yourself to have? And then, comparing yourself to your own expectations. And trust me, I'm a Virgo, and I have that perfectionistic tendencies of like, if when I'm writing, it's like, if my writing is not matching my own expectations, I want to scrap the whole darn thing. And then somebody grabs it out of the trash can and reads it and is like, this is freaking brilliant. What are you doing? And I'm going, it's not good. And they're like, compared to what? So that's kind of what this energy is watch out for your own expectations. And what you're needing to do in this, and that might be the awareness you need in this dark moon, to have maturity and start. Either there's two things that you can do when your expectations are too high, and you should probably do both. One is ask yourself a few questions. Is my expectations too high? And if your expectations are too high, they need to be lowered. Now, you don't have to lower them to where you are. You can put them right here, like a step above what you have, so you can attain something. Because if we don't have high expectations, we can also get in a slump of making everything in our life, being in an abusive relationship is okay, right? Or the misery that we know is okay, because at least we know what that is. So we do want to strive for at least a little bit better, because growth is a human need. We all need to grow in some way. There's lessons that we need to learn, and we feel, there is an inherent thing that we have within us that we want to be better people, and we want to have better circumstances, and but if they're too high, then you can end up in self-pity, and then that's not good, because you're wounding yourself with your own expectations. How silly is that? Why are we doing that to ourselves? So what needs to be done is the expectations need to be lowered, so that what we can do is we can start having attainment of our expectations. And once you get to that small step of attainment, then you can lift them up a little longer, and just it's this process of like taking steps. And little steps are way easier to get to your goal than having an expectations up here while you're here. And then you go, well, A, I'm exhausted by them. And B, it's so big that I don't even know where to start. And then we end up doing nothing. So this is definitely, and that's so practical of the Virgo to say, right? And this is a very practical energy. It's like, I'm going to take a weight loss goal. Like, if you have 100 pounds of weight loss, that's going to stop you from doing anything. It just feels so unattainable. But if you start with, you know what? I'm going to walk 3 blocks today. That's way more attainable. That expectation can be met, right? So it's like, start with the ones. To get to the big goal, you have to start smaller. And then you won't have to be so burdened by your own expectations. And you can do that with anything, relationships, career, whatever you're trying to strive for. And remember to co-create with spirit. Don't try to do this thing alone, whatever you're wanting to create. Don't try to do it alone. You have to have the connection to a higher purpose and your higher self. So the higher purpose might be, I want to feel healthy. The higher purpose, I want to be happy. And your higher self is like, damn right. Yeah, we're good with those purpose. We're good with you being in love. We're good with you being healthy. We're good with you having a career of service. So stay in purpose.
And that works so well with Mars in Capricorn, which is Capricorn's purpose. So perfect. I love it. Thank you, Virgo. Our next aspect that we have today is the moon is actually shifting into Libra on Friday, and we have the new moon in Libra on Friday. So we're going to just combine them all into moon in Libra, new moon in Libra on Friday. This is happening at 8 degrees, which is the degree of Capricorn. It's the degree of purpose. It's the degree of, I like to say, responsibility. How are you showing up? This is what this new moon is asking us. How are you showing up for what you want to integrate, what you want to manifest in your life? And to me, it's coming right back to the message that we've been talking about throughout tonight. I have the harmony card. You have to find your inner harmony. And this is such an important Libra lesson. Whether you are Libra, whether you are not a Libra but have strong Libra in your chart, or whether you don't even have Libra in your chart. Because even if you don't have Libra in your chart, you've got Libra in your chart somewhere. That energy of Libra exists. And that energy of Libra is finding that balance, finding that harmony. But so often we look for that harmony, we look for that balance in everything outside of us. And this new moon and all of this energy that we're working with this week is reminding us to find that inner harmony, to then bring in those outer manifestations. So how are you going to find this inner harmony? I've got some really cute cards alongside of this. I've got the playfulness card and the innocence card. And I think this is, reminding us to look at who you once were, as a child, when you were in those moments of complete trust and awe and ease in the universe. There's, even if it's just for a second, like staring and looking at birds flying in the sky, finding that energy and reminding yourself of that. I feel like this week we have this strong energy of like the inner child coming through, but I'm really, even though there's no Leo going on right now, well, there is actually at this moment, the moon's in Leo at this moment, but even though there's nothing else besides that happening right now, there really feels like there's this strong energy of bringing that in, because, a child's able to go, I was listening to Abraham actually, and I love this story, and I'm going to tell this story. So there's this child on an airplane, and this child, was very unhappy about being strapped in, to go take the trip. And her parents were like, well, sorry, this is what's going to happen. So she went from like, roar, and like pissed as hell at this to apparently she was saying, you hurt me. Like she got very vindictive about this. Like, I'm going to make you feel how unhappy about this. And then she went to the state of like where she was gurgling and making herself happy. And then all of a sudden she was laughing. And what Abraham's point was, we all have this ability to help shift ourselves from those places of like, out of, nothing is going my way, disharmony, dis-ease all over the place, to the place of like, oh, things are good. And I'm kind of getting that feeling with this Libra. Not that I think that we should ever, disassociate from the things that need to be looked at, but I think with this new moon energy, it's really going to be important to find that inner harmony within yourself. Like, okay, everything that's outside may not exactly look like what I want it to look like at this moment, but there's some really good things happening for me. There's some really good things happening for this world, and I'm going to align with them. That's the energy that I'm getting. And this energy is one of maturity, coming to wholeness within yourself. And I think it's like accepting what is and yet eager for what is coming. And that gives you the opportunity to be at harmony with yourself. Okay, I need these lessons. These lessons have come around for a reason. Cool, I'm in them. What else? What else? And what's good right now? I've also got the patience card. So you have it too, of course. So this to me is like, hey, these good things, they're in the process, they're on the way. But all of these cards were here and upright. And so I just think, remembering this is part of the process. Along with it, from the goddesses and from the whatever, I can't remember the deck's name is, I've got the integrity card. And I've got the Sekhmet card. The integrity card says, align your actions so they match your values and inner knowingness of what's right for you. So much about this integrity, so much about that responsibility. Are you aligned with what is true for you, or are you still aligning what others have told you to align with? This is an opportunity to really find that harmony and align with you. And in order to do that, it requires strength. It's not easy to be like, I know you told me this, but that's not how it is for me. That's not right for me. Sekhmet, Be strong, strong like a lion. It says you're stronger than you think you are, and your strength assures a happy outcome. What will it take for you to be in alignment and in integrity for yourself through this new moon? And I think it's a really, 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 I think it's an important thing anytime, but all of these cards this week have been like, hey, find this alignment. Nicole?
Yeah, I'm getting, so, you know, new moons are all about setting new intentions and new visions and really grounding into what you want to create. And the first thing that I got in the past position is this inner voice card. And, you know, it's all about the moon, which I love, and the cyclical nature. And there's a lot of cards I have. I have the patient, which is also cyclical nature of things. So what I'm getting for this is there is a certain, and I have the new vision card as well. And the new vision card at first was in reverse, but what I'm getting from this card is there is a vision that you have. Like, so I always say that the visions that are meant to be keep cycling back around. We have a lot of grand ideas. I am a visionary. I have new ideas every day. But once in a while, I have that same vision for myself or for what I want to create that keeps cycling back around, reminding me not to forget that. So I want you to notice in that rhythms and cycles card that Mimi had a little while ago is notice the ones that keep cycling back. Notice the ones that keep tapping you on the shoulder. Which ones keep whispering in your ear? Is it, you know, what for me, it's like there's two. It's creating some sort of retreat or school for spiritual learning. And then also like a lot of my own message using different approaches in my life, Meisner technique that I learned in acting and blah, blah, blah. So these keep cycling to me. So they're like, don't forget about me, don't forget about me. So one is going to cycle back around, and I want you to go tune into it. Beyond the fear, you might have like those voices saying, oh, that's too big, or I'm not ready, or I can't do that, or I don't know, I don't have enough money, blah, 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 beep, beep, beep. There's always going to be more voices and new ones. So who cares what they have to say? Get in, tune in to the inner self, because if it's cycling something back around, it wants your attention again, because they might have another piece of the puzzle for you to put it together so you can start really seeing what those breadcrumbs are trying to lead you to. And so within that, it's, you know, just because it hasn't manifested yet, and you might have had that same idea for 10 years, doesn't mean it's not going to happen, because this is going to be this kind of tortoise and the hare, the slow and steady pace. And know that everything that you've been learning has been what you've needed for this vision, even if it doesn't look like that. I mean, success doesn't look like this. It's not a straight line. Sometimes it's like, wee, wee, wee. And all of that is the things that we're gathering, all the little loopholes, all the little things that we have to go through. We're gathering the knowledge, the wisdom, and the strength and our maturity so we can eventually be able to manifest this new vision. And what I'm also getting, I'm getting this patience, right? And I'm patience with it, because what it's doing is you also need the right people to do it with. And I have a feeling you're starting to meet the people that is going to kind of come along and help you do this. And you're only one piece of that puzzle. So I like what Mimi said is like, if you don't feel like that, you know, if you're hearing something and that doesn't feel like that's for you, or you're not resonating with that, or somebody's giving your opinion, telling you to do it a certain way, you have to be strong enough to do it your way, because your way is going to be your flavor, your color, your spectrum. Like it's like I always see that prism, like having this like cool crystal prism, and the light comes through and then it shines the rainbows all over the room. And everybody has a different spectrum of color. You have to root in your own spectrum of color. You can't, if you're blue, you can't be red. That's not fair to red. Red needs to be red. You need to be blue, because you have to paint the sky and you have to paint the bluebirds, right? It would be a different essence if it wasn't your color. So you've got to stay true to your own color, your own flavor, your own talents. Not what anybody else thinks you should be, what you know in your heart, who you truly are, what color is your essence. And you have to be that essence, because that's your piece of the puzzle piece. And so you're going to bring something to the table that no one else can. And they'll need to bring what they bring to the table so it becomes this full, complete picture. So that's what I'm getting for this new moon, is to really go back to that vision, get away from the fear, and start really embodying what that vision is telling you, who that vision is telling you you need to be, so you can start more implementing, integrating all the things you need so you can do your mission, do what you need to do on this planet at this time, because it's crucial. We have a lot of things going on the planet right now. It's crucial that we become authentic and ourselves so we can make the difference, no matter how big or how small your part of the puzzle is. You need to embrace and embody that so we can all do this thing together.
Cool. I like it. So our final aspect of the week is the moon in Scorpio. The moon shifting into Scorpio on Sunday. You know, and I'm going to show you my first card that I have. I have the Shield Yourself card. It says, protect yourself from harsh or fear-based energies by envisioning a cocoon of healing light surrounding you. And what I'm getting with this, because I was like sitting here with these cards like, I don't know what this is all saying. What's this saying? Help me out. And the message that I got was, you know, with this, we've just done this manifestation work. We've been doing all this work this week of integrating ourselves, integrating what is in alignment with ourselves. But the thing is, I know for me how fast all that can go out the window is when I tell somebody who cares deeply about me, but I tell them, I have this idea, blah, blah, blah. And people in their own lives and their own experiences, their own blah, 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 will bring in all of their experience. And I don't want to say they rain on your parade, but they rain on your parade. You know, it's not purposeful. It's not mean. It's not mean-hearted. Sometimes it is. Let's be fair. There are even those. There are some that are mean-spirited. But I'm feeling more this comes to the people who are just like trying to protect you. And this is, I think this is saying, hey, whatever you're working on, whatever you're manifesting, you may want to keep this kind of close to your heart. I've got the Courage card, but with this Shield card, you may want to keep this close to you. Nikki always says crabs in a bucket. You know, there's all kinds of different energies, which will be like, oh, this isn't a good idea for that reason, this reason, whatever. I think it's about coming into the energy, having the courage to trust ourselves, trust our light, trust our lessons, and being like, okay, I've got to, you know, protect this, you know, child, protect this thing that I'm giving birth to, because, you know, the world's a scary place and people love me and don't want to see me get hurt. So I'm really getting this from this, because I've got the flowering card in reverse, I've got the outsider, and to me it's like this thing that you want hasn't come about, but you've got to protect it in order for it to bloom, in order for it to come out. I've got the creativity card, which is like the Empress card, the mothering card. So be really nurturing to whatever these intentions that you're putting forth, whatever this inner harmony that you've created with yourself. If there's somebody coming around and it's like stirring up your harmony, yes, there may be some good lessons in there for you, but really work on that discernment. Like, okay, is this right for me? Or is this a place where I need to shield myself from their fear, from their own process? Because that's what it is their process. Along with that, I've got the Sulis card where I was like, I don't know what to do with all this, but I understand now. For me, well, Sulis is the Bodies of Water card. For me, when I get around that energy where it's like somebody's worried about me or somebody is not worried about me and just wants to take me down, one of my best clearing modalities, and Moon and Scorpio, it makes sense, is going by the water. I am lucky enough to live near the ocean, so I love to go to the ocean and let the ocean carry away that energy. But it's also as simple as taking a bath or an intentional shower even to clear away anybody else's energy that's coming out and disturbing you from working to empower yourself and empower your intentions that you set with this new moon. So, you know, Scorpio, it can bring out the fears, it can bring out the shadows, it can bring it up in us, it can bring it up in somebody else, but really pay attention to these energies. And if you need to, you know, be like, hey, stop right there. I know you love me, but this is not helpful for me at this time. And it's okay to say that. And it's also okay if you do absorb some of that energy and you start getting stirred up, go clear it out with the water. And I also have, just to mention it, I have the Ordinariness card, which is the card of like gifts. So there's a gift in these lessons, whether it's the gift of being willing to be so in harmony with yourself that you stand up to somebody and be like, hey, this isn't right. Or if it's the gift of, oh, I see what other people's stuff, you know, does to me. There's so many different ways this can go. So don't get upset about it. It's a gift. But do what you need to do to protect your baby. Nicole?
I have the same thing, but I also have this thing where, so there's the participation card. And then I have underneath it, I have this Thunderbolt card. So I think either it's a community, it might be a community, it might be a group of friends, it might be I don't know if it's exactly a friend, but I have a feeling that a group of people coming together are going to start really shaking things up. And that you really have to show up in maturity. And be receptive. And, you know, I think you should shield. I really do think you should shield. And because, but there's two things of the shielding, right? So it's like somebody might give you some feedback and the feedback might be really harsh. And so you need to protect yourself a little bit because it might be a projection of the other person. But when somebody gives me feedback, what I do is I use it like shoes. I go, is it me? And I put them on and go, is this me? Well, that doesn't really fit, right? I'm not really like that. I look at my husband and go, am I like this? And they're like, Nikki, seriously? And then I take the shoes off and go, they stink. But sometimes somebody says something to me and I go, am I? And they're like, well, yeah, you can do that sometimes. And then I could take ownership of it. So there's this kind of like, the receptivity card in reverse can say, definitely shield yourself, but to gain a little bit more maturity, what you might want to do with the shielding is try it on for size, then boom, get it out of there. Like if it's not yours, let it go. And do the shield protection of not my circus, not my monkeys, not mine. I love you, but not mine. And if it is yours, then you take your responsibility and you be mature about it. But I do think that there is going to be some shaking up of some things, and that you might even be the one that says something that shakes up something in somebody else, and then they lash back out at you. So there's this kind of interesting energy with that, and that's so Scorpio. Oh, that's so Scorpio. So, you know, just be aware of that energy. I don't have the answer for you, whether it's going to be, you know, whether it's, I do think you need to have a certain level of boundaries, and you do need to not take everybody's shit on and their own projections on. But I do know that with both of everything that, you know, I know how things work, and I know things, you know, like it might trigger something in you, and then that's exactly, it might, you know, whatever they project onto you might not resonate with you, but what something in there is maybe triggering your victim or triggering defensiveness or triggering something in there that you still can sit. Don't take it personally. Just sit with it and see what's coming up for you so you can grow in that maturity in that way. Because everything, even if somebody is the biggest freaking pain in the ass and he's like saying like the most rude stuff to you, you still can find your own empowerment by, what does Matt Kahn say when somebody says something to him? He goes into a place where he can find the authentic compassion, and then he says, I bless you, my friend, or whatever. I'm like, fuck, I wish I was that enlightened, because when somebody does that to me, I can't get into this authentic thing like, bless you, child. I'm like, no. I'm like, you know what? I just need a little space for a second. Really feel into what that is, and then respond in that way, right? So I can be mature enough to go, to know that I can't go, oh, bless you, my child. I'm not, you know, I'm not there yet.
And that's okay.
That's okay. Just know where you're at and take it in the way that you need to take it in, and don't let it throw you, you know, don't let it fully throw you this time when somebody like puts their shit on you. It's like, okay, give me a minute. I can't be around you at the moment. Just give me a breath. Let me get my bearings, and then let me feel how I really feel about this instead of just being so reactionary.
Totally. Well, that is it for this week with the moon ending in Scorpio for this week. Do you have anything else you want to add? Any sales or anything going on?
No, not at the moment. I have to tell you guys, I might be taking readings off the table in a little bit. So if you want a reading, I'm just going through, I'm going through a change of myself, and I want to put out some things where I can put more focus on helping a lot more people than doing the one-on-ones, like finishing my book and doing more stuff online, so I can and really making money doing that instead of doing my one-on-ones. So if you want readings, if you're needing that private time with me, you might want to do it sooner rather than later, because maybe in the next month or so, I'm going to be taking that off the table for a little bit.
Fair enough. I recommend it. I don't have any sales.
Oh, did we lose it? I think we lost her. She doesn't have any sales. So hopefully we'll get her back. Probably not before we leave her. Her computer likes to go funky on her. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you like what we do, share it with others. Check us out. Mimi does her daily astrology, and I do my daily guidances. We really enjoy all your feedback. We are very grateful for you. So thank you. We'll see you next time. Namaste.